Campers, it's me, Ari Lehman, the first Jason Voorhees. From Friday the 13th, I'm here with AJ, and he's got the juiciest slice ready for you. It's dripping with blood. Jason never dies.
What makes a horror film kill memorable, terrific, even in some way profound or poignant? Let's explore. Thanks for checking this out. If anything about it trips your fancy, please like, subscribe, and share.
Yes, yes.
Without further ado.
Oh, by the way, how come I was the only one there working tonight?
We were there this afternoon, Barb.
A likely story.
Barb is highly suspicious of their veracity, but since she's indulged in several libations, her holiday celebrating well underway, she'll let it slide. This time.
Barb, it's for you. Long distance. Oh, great. Hang on, I'll take it in the other room.
Unaware some mentally unfit oddball has taken up residence in their attic and has decided to test limits.
Hi, Mom. Yeah, I can hear you now.
No, we're just having a little party.
She's an unwitting victim of voyeurism.
No, I've had a couple. Oh, come on, I'm not drunk.
Barb an alcoholic? No. Maybe by every definition, but no. She's just living the full college experience.
Well, why can't I come too?
Sounds like Barb's mom is blowing her off for other plans.
Yeah, sure, I'm fine. I'll see you around.
Which leads to the kind of walk of shame she can't be proud of, and thus a need for validation through solidarity.
You want to go skiing for a few days?
Dejection seems a companion that often tinctures her outlook, and not everyone is suited to being around her acerbic attitude.
How about you, Claire?
No thanks, Barb. I've made some other plans.
Dear Claire has a hunky boyfriend, so she has better things to do, literally.
Hey, as long as they're consenting adults.
One thing certain to draw the sorority sisters together is their communal obscene caller. Who may or may not have something to do with that lurking intruder.
I make it pretty. I'm like a tuning fork, baby.
Not bad.
Suck my...
The string of lewd, vulgar, violently sexual sweet nothings seem to ignite Barb's underserved libido.
I'll come over and you can suck it. Okay.
Bringing her inner mean girl to the forefront.
Listen, you pervert, why don't you go over to Lambakai? They could use a little of this.
In one fell swoop, she took the moaner down a peg and slighted a rival sorority.
You are my fat cock.
Oh, why don't you go find a wall socket and stick your tongue in it?
The guy is a real creep, and Barb revels in matching his energy, so to speak.
That'll give you a charge.
I'll stick my tongue up your pretty pussy.
You fucking creep!
Not to be one-upped, the moaner makes a rather sober declaration.
I'm going to kill you.
Even an explicit threat can't detract from his profane blather.
Ah, super tongue strikes again. Fastest tongue in the West. That was sick.
It's obvious Barb has no capacity to take him seriously.
Oh, listen, this guy's minor league in the city. I get 2 of those a day. Maybe.
Buoyed by a healthy fear of society, Claire isn't so sure.
But you know that town girl was raped a couple of weeks ago.
Darling.
Barb is about to lay down the truth as she sees it, in her deeply cynical way.
You can't rape a townie. You really are too much, Barb.
Rather crass assessment. Barb has an edgelord quality, seeking to push boundaries.
Oh, come on, this is a sorority house, not a convent.
And seeks to get goats, with a total disregard for the feelings of others.
I'll see you later. I'm gonna go pack.
Barb has no scruples when it comes to offensiveness, unafraid to throw shade.
All the time. Come on, I know a professional virgin when I see one.
Seems unlikely Claire's hunky fellow would fail to seal the deal. I mean, he's a hockey player.
Are you serious?
But whatever, Barb is entitled to her views. After their quarrel, Claire meets her end at the hands of the intruder, who uses her corpse to flaunt his penchant for displays. The sort of girl from a solid home, Claire's father comes to collect her. Since she's wrapped but not ready for pickup, he finds no waiting daughter.
Some more, huh?
Yes, well, if we don't have any luck, I'll go to the police.
To be fair, back in the day, contributing to the delinquency of a minor was holiday tradition. After getting a kid schnockered, Barb demands answers.
Could you just give it to me one at a time?
Well, what the hell are you planning to do about it?
And gets about the response you'd expect.
You, shut up.
Will she suck it up and take that with quiet grace? Hell no.
You know, for a public servant, I think your attitude really sucks.
Not your brightest example of a law enforcement officer. Nash is a sitting duck.
Could you give me the number at the sorority house?
Barb is presented with a prime opportunity she can't pass up.
Please.
Yeah, sure.
Say what you will about her, but the lady has bravado, enough to pass off a big lie without hesitation.
It's, Fellatio 20880.
It's the confidence coupled with dear Nash's naivete that sell it.
It's a no one on me. How do you spell it?
Yeah, thanks to Barb. Later on, his colleagues get a good laugh at his expense. With prank phone calls at an all-time high, Claire missing without a lead, and a young girl murdered, back at the sorority house, the tension could be cut with a knife, or a well-timed quippy factoid.
There's a certain species of turtle.
Luckily, as it turns out, Barb is an endless receptacle of useless information she finds infinitely amusing.
That can screw for 3 days without stopping.
3 days? Talk about longevity. Those turtles must be early adherents to tantric sex practices. Barb feels a demonstration is in order.
They do 3 days, 24 hours a day.
Then there's an insight
Can you believe that? 3 days?
that reveals a big source of her frustrations.
I'm lucky if I get 3 minutes.
Mr. Harrison is probably reconsidering the merit of the on-campus college experience.
Do you know how I know this? Because
When it includes influences like Barb.
I went down to the zoo and I watched them.
Soon thereafter, with her predisposition to drunkenly sulk, Barb begins throwing around wild allegations in regards to Claire's disappearance.
You think that I drove her away? And if she's dead, you're gonna blame me.
Drunken grandstanding almost always looks ugly.
Sick and tired of everyone in this house insinuating stuff and not coming out with what they mean.
Phil is forced to step in and be the voice of reason.
Barb, why don't you go upstairs and lie down for a while?
Shut up.
The booze in her system wreaking havoc on her mind, Barb won't take reasonable suggestions lightly.
You leave me alone. God damn you. You think it's my fault, don't you? You've been implying it all afternoon.
Plastered into a paranoid state, being thoroughly inebriated is more to blame, it would seem, than any real sentiment from the others.
Barb, you're drunk. Go to bed.
Among the collective, such behavior is unacceptable, and as such, Phil has no choice other than to put the surly drunk in her place. Having made herself a spectacle, Barb seems to actually feel chastised.
Yeah, sure. Fine.
But also rejected. as though she feels entitled to her rancor, and can't understand why the others can't just cut her some slack.
What?
It would seem walks of shame are a regular part of her life. A little later, tucked away alone in her bed, Barb receives a visit from the intruder. Barb has a serious case of asthma, severe enough a sorority sister needs to minister to her. Really making you question why she smokes like a chimney at the height of winter.
What's the matter?
Jess is fast to place an inhaler in her hand.
Easy, relax. We'll be okay.
And then listens to Barb relate the nightmare that prompted her asthma attack.
I dreamed a stranger was coming in my room.
Well, thank goodness that was only a dream, and not the current circumstance. No, wait.
I guess that's what gave me asthma, huh? Take it easy, it's alright, just
No, I'm sure the 2 or 3 packs she huffed down had nothing to do with it. No, though, the irony is getting thick.
I should be so lucky to have a stranger come in my room.
With the intruder closely observing, he only needs an opportunity to fulfill Barb's desire for male attention, only in one of the worst ways possible. And Jess is heading out, drawn away by carolers. And there goes the lights. Just like that, Barb is left totally unprotected, while also too pickled to fight back. Having acquired a taste for murder, the intruder approaches Barb with a mind towards satiating dark urges. I get a sense like that unicorn figurine is about to be used to do something that it was never intended for, and I seriously doubt a warning sticker would change that. Either in the throes of a delusion, or living out a sexual fantasy, he can't help himself.
Agnes, it's me, Billy. It's alright, Agnes.
Through no fault of her own, she is the object of his murderous desire.
It's alright. Shh, pretty Agnes.
Barb is done for, and she's totally oblivious in the penultimate moment of her life.
Agnes, don't you tell what we did, Agnes.
But life isn't fair, and in the crucial instant before violence comes crashing down, she is granted horrid awareness. Suffused with the terror of total helplessness, Barb knows she's at the mercy of a madman. What's worse than a life unfulfilled? A life cut tragically short. Were this a debate, on moxie alone Barb would come out on top, her snark a weapon of destruction. But this is a psycho's game, played by his sinister rules. And unable to muster any recourse, Barb becomes another trophy he collects, along his enigmatic mission of mayhem and death. Well, one thing.
I tell you what didn't kill her. Smoking.
An extraordinary exit can spiral out of a layered buildup of characterization and suspense, when fate conspires to intersect with bad decisions, to force all the components in place necessary to facilitate the sort of brutal explosion of emotions that leaves a young woman wrecked, and the purveyor of carnage, charged up to commit more murder.
Barb, are you awake?
The way everything unfolds maximizes growing suspense and anticipation in a way few films achieve, using proximity and knowledge as linchpins that lock the audience into a state of escalating tension. By the time Barb was consigned to her bed, the killer looming over her, inevitability had become so pervasive, it was only a matter of the details. Immediacy is a tool the film uses to strafe nerves and hit beats. The killer a fly on the wall, close but unseen, collecting information as he built up the nerve to kill again and again. Throughout, he existed as a subtle but inescapable reminder of oncoming and continuing doom, all the way to the central kill of the film, which was of course Barb's. The whole sequence plays against expectation by pitting the darkness of death against the brightness of holiday cheer, and the horror wins out by overshadowing everything and demonstrating that no matter how joyous the soundtrack, brutal bloody murder is no less shocking and appalling. In fact, the contrast heightens the terror exponentially. The cross-cutting created a tragic poignancy by showing how life goes on, even as awful things happen. How one person's happy moment can be another's most horrifying, and last. Although others were close by, within striking distance, Barb might as well have been a million miles away. No help was coming.
Youlish, very Youlish.
This makes watching a particularly unsettling experience, knowing her fate is sealed, and it's only a matter of time until whammo. In this way, the film is a well-tinkered mechanism that creates a devastating sense of inescapability as events play out, juxtaposing Jess with the nearby killer. Foreshadowed that positions would be traded when chance dictated, that a repellent miscreant would replace a kindly caregiver. There's a distinct perversity to murdering someone who for all intents and purposes is unconscious. That Barb woke enough to experience dawning awareness doesn't detract from the fact that her killer had no sense of honor. Maybe there would have been something merciful to it had she not woken. Only she did wake, perhaps into what she hoped was just another scary phantasm, only to realize...
This is no dream, this is really happening!
The whole thing represents the cowardice of canned hunting, and is likely a deep cut into the killer, an example of his inability to face his victims directly, especially ones as socially powerful as Barb, a lady who weaponized her mouth down to having the bad breath of a heavy drinker and smoker. Barb is an obvious forerunner of what would develop into the stereotypical horror movie bitch. In this instance, there was more nuance to her, a more complete picture of a well-rounded, if flawed character, whereas later, such types became one-dimensional caricatures, mean, and even plain cruel, because the plot demanded it, their motives threadbare and arbitrary. Barb, meanwhile, was a girl with issues she unfortunately took out on others.
Well, that's what we're all thinking. Why doesn't someone just come right out and say it?
A rose is a rose, and her name offers insight into Barb's character, because she managed to be just that, a Barb, one that perforated the side of anyone who got in her way, or was just in her periphery. Brash to the point of rudeness, Barb wasn't exactly likable, but she was amusing, always a source of entertainment. Well, if you're not easily offended. Unafraid to be lewd, crude, and crass, to make a mockery of authority, to engage in infighting, and push away even those closest to her, she seemed to revel in audacity.
come on, you gotta be kidding.
Even in a haze of alcohol, Barb was a force, an instigator and plans changer, a woman either looking to live her best life or sow the seeds of her own unfurling. Whatever tightrope she was walking, there was a contradictory sense of entitlement to Barb, which was reflected in her total lack of fear to mix it up with anyone, even law enforcement. It takes a certain privilege to have the tenacity to tell a cop straight to their face that they suck.
One of the girls that was in this afternoon gave it to me.
She gave it to you.
Yeah.
But did her advocacy help? Her bemoaning did little other than indicate she had a real chip on her shoulder. It made her an interesting dichotomy, because on the one hand, Barb was super insecure, yet on the other, totally confident, and it doesn't seem like her chutzpah was entirely supplied by liquid courage. It was a trait she just had, that bold snark, and the booze merely turned up the dial.
Barb, dear, you've had too much to drink. Mr. Harrison... I don't give a shit about Mr. Harrison!
Putting her at odds with just about everyone, she was openly disrespectful, even hostile, had no deference for authority, and seemed to not care one bit if she was liked. Only, it became all too clear, that was a shell she put up to protect a softer, more sensitive core. In truth, she was a sad, disappointed, and frustrated young woman, always on the lookout for a precipitator, an excuse, to free her bad side. This could have been a means to inspire dislike on purpose. If you give others reasons, you never have to feel rejected on a fundamental level. And that was ultimately what Barb feared, that if she put her best foot forward, she still wouldn't be embraced.
You sure can pitch a song about nothing.
What might have set Barb off this time around? Besides having a hunky boyfriend,
You're a real gold-plated whore, Mother.
See you next
know
week.
that? Okay.
Claire's father showed up for her, and when he couldn't locate his daughter, he was totally committed to finding her at any cost.
Now, Mr. Harrison, if you're convinced your daughter is missing, you can fill out one of these forms.
So, she made a scene and spectacle of herself, first with tactless humor, then with angry accusations. What an ego to put all the blame on herself for Claire falling off the face of the earth, and presuming others obviously felt that way too. Any number of explanations might have applied, but it certainly made a good justification to get worked up, and force others to center on her.
You think it's my fault, don't you?
This behavior seemed to arise because on some level she was a bit of a diva, and wanted to be the center of attention. Yet what she was really seeking was the simple validation of feeling like others wanted to make her the center of attention. Genuine caring was a springboard she lacked, and in her attempts to get off the ground by herself, she only managed to offend and strafe.
Don't shit me. That's what you're all thinking. Why don't you just come right out and say it?
Unfortunately, that was the reality. When she went too far and breached limits of decorum, she was harshly challenged and rebuked. Was it a usual state of affairs for Barb, getting too drunk and carrying on in a way that made others uncomfortable, necessitating a social smackdown? Yeah, so it would seem.
What? No.
When Phil called her out, it was like it snapped her out of her bluster, and she had a moment of clarity, leading to her trudging away uncontested, recognizing the optics didn't favor her. But when she went with hurt feelings, as though her antics should have been tolerated indefinitely. Even the choice of murder weapon, a personal object taken from Barb's headboard, proves a great subject for analysis. The unicorn figurine was a beautiful piece. A collectible likely obtained as much for its aesthetic appeal as what it represented. Unicorns are symbols of power and strength, even divine energy. They can be associated with purity and innocence, fertility and courage. Basically a lot of positivity a young woman on the cusp of life would want in her vicinity.
All right. Shh. Pretty Agnes.
Unicorns also represent uniqueness in terms of people, those who are set apart from the masses. After a fashion, everyone wants to believe they are the special exceptional one, separate from the rest, the unicorn. And Barb was no different, even if her actions revealed a distinct self-disdain, probably taught by a neglectful mother and absent father. It would explain her inherent neediness. Anyway, the killer upended the symbol, literally turned it upside down, and used it to kill not only Barb, but Hope, perhaps to show that she herself, by the stand she had taken in life, was counter to all the unicorn's optimism. Food for thought.
Oh, Lord.
A life of disenchantment reflected in vices that lead to poor health. Barb went out of her way to isolate herself. Had she not made herself problematic, lashing out to lash out, chasing attention even if it was of the negative variety, she wouldn't have been banished to her room to sleep it off.
Aren't you being a little cynical?
There's safety in numbers, and as soon as she peeled off from the herd, she was sure to be targeted. She died alone except for her killer, passed out and helpless, only aware enough to experience the terror of a nightmare come to life. She wanted attention and affection, which might have resulted in a cosmic misfire, since her yearning instead manifested a nightmare gentleman caller, who misinterpreted what kind of penetration she desired. Caustic, iconoclastic, insolent, and impertinent, Barb emerged as more of a cautionary tale than others. The film demonstrating there was good reason she was stuck in the sorority house over the holidays. But was it entirely her fault? I would say no. Yet, at some point, expectation takes over for what inspired it, and becomes self-fulfilling prophecy. To Barb's misfortune, she bought the negative hype.
Youlish, very Youlish.
Well, I've about reached the end of the rope, so I won't leave you dangling. Thanks for humoring my ramblings. Please share any refutations, opinions, accusations, japes, or other ideas in the comments below. And please join me for whatever I'm up to next time. Bye now!
Bye, creepy man! Keep it creepy!
He's a weird guy.
Goodbye!
Fellatio. It's a new exchange. F-E.
That's the juiciest slice. Yeah. Not.